Hi, I'm Megan Demore with Comic Book Resources. How are you today, Kevin?
So good, Megan. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great. Thanks. So, I'm not going to get too spoilery here, but I think it's fair to say there's a bit of a twist at the end of the first episode, right? Which I loved. I loved that. But, moving forward from that, what was the one thing that you knew you needed to keep consistent with Masters of the Universe I'm sorry, to keep it consistent with the series that you know and love?
Every character had to look the same. Every character's motivations had to be the same. All their relationships had to be the same. And their delivery, what they talked about, what they wanted, all of that had to be the same. It wasn't like we were going to take something everybody knew and like break it and destroy it and be like, you don't even recognize this shit anymore. So the idea was keep it faithful, because that was our manifest. When I got the job, they were like, we're making a series for the people that grew up watching this cartoon series. And they're all old now, like our boss, Teddy at Netflix. He's my age. Well, I think I'm older than him, but like he grew up watching this as a kid. Now he's an adult and he's in a position of power to be like, let's do Masters of the Universe the way I've always wanted to see it. That was his thing. He was like, look, every episode I watched, I thought Skeletor would kill He-Man. He's like, I grew up, I realized that was not the case. He's going, just give me a show where I believe that again. He's like, give me stakes, make me believe like that like everything just ain't going to be going back to normal the next episode. Like, let's grow them up. So in doing that, we got to have the best of both worlds, where we're playing with the characters and there's somebody else's choice, so we're respectful as hell and we're playing with them the way that they're meant to be played with. But then we just kind of let them grow up a little bit. And part of that is about like looking at we watched every episode of the classic series, and we zeroed in on the opening credit sequence, which kind of mirrors our opening title sequence. The idea that like only a few people know Adam's big secret. And one of the most important characters who is with Adam in every episode of He-Man and the Master Universe was the one character left in the dark, primarily Teela. So that for us was our tee off point. We're like, oh, what happens if Lois Lane finds out that Clark Kent was Superman all that time, but she finds out when he dies, like, as they did in DC Comics at the death of Superman and stuff, although Lois had known who he was for a few years prior to that. So the idea was like, how do you grieve somebody who's been lying to you your whole life? We felt that was interesting drama. And you need a core of drama aside from all the fighting stuff. But the fighting stuff is so dynamic because you never get to see those characters fight in the old show. There were a lot of tumble salts and stuff, but there was like no punching or anything. And he never clashed his sword, for heaven's sakes, with anybody. So we had that going for us, where like right away, of course, Teddy was like, they all get to fight. There can be blood, all the things he wanted to see when he was a kid. And that was the perfect lodestar for this entire project, because it was always about fan service, always about like, what did you want to see when you were a kid, when you watched Masters of the Universe? Because now we're in charge and we get a chance to do that. So it was approached with absolute joy. And to do that, we had to stay very true to everything. So like, even if like we break a toy here or there, or like, kill Moss Man or other very beloved characters, it was never like we changed this character and then we destroyed it. We took the character that you loved from your childhood. Like when, spoilers, Orko faces off against Scareglow. That's the goofy little like wizard you've known forever and sometimes are irritated by in the cartoons because he couldn't make his magic work, suddenly facing off against the powers of hell. Like, that's the kind of show that we were fortunate enough to be asked to do.
Have, I think, about a minute left, but really quickly, since you're a fan, what was the one character you just couldn't wait to get your hands on? What was the one character that you were like, I need to do something with this person?
I honestly thought at the beginning of it was Skeletor, and he's so fun because he could chew the scenery. And then when you cast Mark loves to chew the scenery and stuff. So you got like the Jokerish Skeletor you'll ever get in your life and stuff. So I assumed going in that Skeletor would be all the fun. But I'll be honest with you, like the two characters that I found most compelling as I was going through the series of part one and later on part two. In part one, it's Orko for sure, because of the journey we take with him. But my favorite character, I think, and their journey that like does it for me is Evil-Lyn. Watching somebody who's just been like the sinister sidekick for all these years, abused by her boss and whatnot, have to deal with a world without that guy. Just like Teela is dealing with a world without He-Man, Evil-Lyn has to figure out who she is in the absence of Skeletor. And her journey becomes really interesting. Like she, you know, her name is Evil-Lyn, so it's right in her brand. But slowly she joins the heroic warriors and becomes something of a hero. And then, of course, episode 5 happens. But wait until you see what happens in part 2. Like, it's a lot of Evil-Lyn, and her storyline is so wonderful. So she was the character I was most surprised that I enjoyed so much. Certainly helps that Lena Headey like knocked the part out of the park and stuff. But yeah, her journey I found incredibly compelling.
Awesome. And that's all I have time for today. But thank you so much for chatting with me, and good luck for the rest of your junket.
Thank you so much. Good seeing you.